Welcome to the Childcare Directors Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you are a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Directors Chair.
Hey guys, you're tuned into the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. I'm your host, Erica Sacoccio, and if this is your first time on the show, welcome. I'd also like to do a big shout out to my listeners in ATL, Georgia, always in the house, Kentucky, Murray, Kentucky to be exact, Aurora, Colorado, Ashburn, Virginia, Aldine, Texas, Sydney, New South Wales, and Dallas, Texas. You guys are among the top downloaded cities this week, and I have to say thank you so much for your support. The other thing, guys, I can't even believe this is crazy. We are only 86 downloads away from 50,000 downloads this year. And so share with a friend, share with a colleague, somebody that's never listened to our podcast before. Let's hit that milestone this week. We'll stop counting down, but I would love to hit 50,000 by the end of this week. So let's get into today's episode. It's one rooted by my favorite leadership guru, John Maxwell, and some of his ideas and about just connection and leading with your heart. And it connects with how deeply I lead and how I coach and how I see the future of early childhood education. And I'd like to start with a quote from Peter Drucker. And he says, "The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't being said." That line right there shifts everything, because leadership in early childhood isn't just about what is spoken in meetings or written in emails. It is also what sits underneath those words: the emotion, the hesitation, the energy, and the silence. And if we're willing to listen with an open heart, not just an open ear, we begin to lead at a completely different level. So first thing I want you to think about is, what are we really listening for? Most people think listening is passive. Someone talks, you hear it, you respond, you move on. But leadership listening is active, it's intentional, and it's deeply human. When Peter Drucker talks about hearing what isn't being said, he is talking about leadership awareness. He's talking about the ability to pick up on what lies between the words. In early childhood education, this shows up constantly. It shows up when a teacher says, "I'm fine," but their body language says otherwise. Or it shows up in team meetings and everybody is quiet, but the tension in the room is very loud. And it shows up when families say, everything is okay, but something in their voice tells you there is more. As leaders, we have to train ourselves to slow down enough to notice the full picture, not just the spoken one. Because if we only listen to words, we really do miss the real story. And here's where the leadership shifts. It is not always about you, not your solution, not your explanation, not even your reaction. It's about the person in front of you feeling seen, safe, and heard. And that's where trust begins. You also have to have the discipline of being open-minded. Open-hearted listening requires discipline, and it is not automatic. Because as leaders, we are problem solvers by nature, and we want to fix everything quickly. We want answers, we want resolution, but listening isn't always about rushing to an answer. It's about maybe staying long enough just to hear the conversation and to understand the meaning behind it. Being open-minded means you do not walk into conversations assuming you already know the outcome. And in early childhood leadership, this might look like sitting in a coaching conversation and resisting the urge to interrupt with solutions. And God knows I've been guilty of it. It might look like hearing frustration from a staff member, but not immediately defending your policies or your procedures. It might even look like sitting with discomfort when feedback is given, instead of explaining it away. And this is where leadership maturity develops, because open minded leaders are not threatened by perspectives, they're actually strengthened by it. And when your team realizes they can speak honestly without being shut down, corrected too quickly, or being dismissed, well, something powerful happens. They start telling you the truth, and the truth is the foundation of growth. Now, before we continue, I do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors at All Brand New England. All Brand New England supports early childhood programs with high quality branded apparel, uniforms, and custom gear designed specifically for educators and childcare environments. They understand what teams feel like when they're unified and they're confident and they're represented, and it shows up in the culture of the program. From staff shirts to program branding, they help early childhood leaders build identity and pride across their teams. So thank you, All Brand New England, for supporting educators, supporting leadership, and investing in the early childhood community here in New England. So let's get back into it. Listening to understand, not respond. This is a hard one for you guys. One of the most transformative leadership shifts that you can make is this: stop listening to respond and start listening to understand. Most people listen while already preparing that answer. But when you do that, you miss the depth of what is actually being shared. Listening to understand means you slow down, your internal reaction, you stay curious longer, and you can ask better questions. In early childhood settings, this changes everything. Instead of jumping in with advice, when a teacher shares a struggle, you can pause and say, "Tell me more about that." Instead of immediately defending your program, when a parent raises a concern, you can say, "Help me understand your experience." And that one shift changes the entire emotional tone of the conversation. Because people do not always need correction first, they need connection first. And when people feel understood, they become more open, more engaged, and more willing to grow. And that is leadership at work. Not control, but connection. And you need to listen. Listening as leadership in early childhood education is so important. I want to bring this home. Listening with an open heart is not a soft skill. It is a core leadership skill. In early childhood education, your listening directly impacts everything. It impacts your staff retention because people stay where they feel heard. It impacts your team culture because safety is built through voice. And it impacts family trust because communication builds relationships. And it impacts classroom quality because educators feel supported and not judged. And when people feel unheard, they disconnect. And when people feel truly listened to, then they learn and they lean in and they want to know more and they share more and they collaborate more and they trust more. And that's the kind of environment great leaders build, not through pressure, but through presence. Listening becomes leadership in action. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to strengthen culture. Every moment becomes a chance to build trust. So I'm going to leave you with this. The future of early childhood leadership is not just about strategy or systems. It's about presence. It's about that ability to sit with another human being and truly hear them, not just their words, but their meaning. Because when you listen with an open heart, you don't just improve communication. You transform leadership, you transform culture, and you transform connection. So, if this message is really speaking to you, and I hope that it is, and you're ready to grow as a leader, strengthen your voice, and fully step into the leader that you're becoming, then I want to personally invite you to join us in the Trailblazers program. We are officially launching a free 1-month experience designed for early childhood leaders who are ready to grow, reflect, and take action in real time. This is your space to build confidence, strengthen leadership skills, and connect with others who are on the same journey of growth and impact. When I tell you my Trailblazer ladies are amazing, they're amazing. Oh, and we do have one gentleman as well. So we are diversifying, but no, really, it's open to everybody. Here's your next step. Join the Trailblazers program for your free month and step into leadership development that actually meets you where you are. And it helps you move forward because the future called and it's waiting for better leadership, and that starts with you. Check the link below to get into the Trailblazers. Until then, see you tomorrow.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Directors Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.